nervous because I'm here now.
Hey guys, welcome into another episode of 410 Sports Talk. I'm James Haskell here with my co-host Glenn Martin, and the guy below us that we're really excited to have on the show is Lou Young, former NFL player turned comedian / actor / YouTube star. The list goes on and on. You know, you guys can check him out on Twitter, YouTube, and we'll get into that later. But we're really excited to have you on the show. We appreciate the time today, man.
Hey man, I appreciate y'all for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And what we're excited about is, obviously following you on Twitter. I mean, my goodness, it's hilarious. So, a guy that's, been around the Baltimore area so much as you have, but also traveled a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I got to know, like, what is it that makes Baltimore and this area so special and unique and different about, from other parts of the country?
I grew up in the D.C. area, in Washington, D.C. So a lot of my, growing up, a lot of my friends, we in Northeast Washington, D.C., the inner city, and then my AAU and Pop Warner teams was in PG County, and I played. My Pop Warner team was White Oak, so we would play all those Baltimore teams. So growing up, we just saw it was like night and day. We would travel all the way to Baltimore. It used to be like a big field trip, so we would just see a lot of different things over there. My brother and my sister, they grew up in Baltimore, so I would go out there on the weekends with them, and it's just different out there. So, it's tough out there. It's like you got to kind of have that kind of tough mentality out there.
I tell you what, man, I'll never forget my travel basketball team the first time. So I grew up in Harford County. First time we went down into Cherry Hill, we had a basketball game, and it was a different world, man. I loved it though. You're talking about, you got to be tough. People are in your face all the time.
Yeah.
It's full court press all the time.
In your face.
Right, but you love it. You know what I mean? You just learn to love it. You thrive in it. So that's awesome, man. We're really excited to hear that, and hopefully our fans enjoy that as well. So one of the questions we have, as a former player, is about film day. After a big win, big loss, how different is the atmosphere compared to losing a big game or winning a big game the day after when you guys are going through film?
Okay, I guess I guess we'll start with losing. Losing the big game is a little tough because you lost, right? You say, and if you had a bad game, you really don't want to watch the film in front of everybody. You know what I mean? But you gotta deal with it essentially. So the best thing, like Coach always told me, he said, we're just gonna watch it. We're gonna put it behind us. We're gonna focus on the new week. So the atmosphere is definitely different coming in the film. Now, individually, if you had a good game during the loss, you might not feel that bad, but still, But honestly though, just the whole energy, it's better to have a good game when you win.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you have a good game and you took the loss, even if you did something good, coach might find something crazy that you did wrong. So, you know what I'm saying? That was I hated, film after loss because coach is salty. All the other coaches are salty. You know what I mean? Anything they got an attitude about. And then, you always kind of had to walk through after the film and everything like that. And the whole, it's just a slow walk and slow build up to that. So it's all right. God,
long walk through misery, right?
Yeah, can we just get on with this film? I don't even want to eat breakfast. I just want to go to film.
Well, how important is it, or how different is it? Are you guys cracking jokes when you lose, or jokes only when you win?
Okay, if you lose and you're on the bus cracking jokes, you probably want to be on mute. You don't want to. You want to just put your headphones on, sit in the back, close the lights, get your your Chick-fil-A or your pizza to go, whatever they got for you in the lot. Get that, especially if you lose at an away game. Oh, that's terrible.
Long trip home.
That flight home. The whole it's everybody just looking around, moping and stuff. It's just not a good vibe.
Now, if there's like a win, but maybe a play where somebody does something real embarrassing, like gets blown up by a kicker or a punter, is there a time where I can just imagine somebody with the clicker just rewinding and then seeing the hit and then rewind it and just keep over? Is that something that ever happens?
Now, yeah, I've had coaches who, win, lose, or draw, if they see something crazy, they might just click. They might just, just hit that thing couple times, and then kind of look back at that person, so what were you thinking here? So, that was, I mean, you kind of find a little humor in it. Now, if it's a big win or, and everybody's excited, but you might have had a okay, not so good game, that can be tough in the film room. Right. And then, like you said, if you got something embarrassing on film, and it's a win, everybody's happy, but in the back of your head that they're gonna play that footage. So
it's coming.
You just got to take the bitter with the sweet, I guess, when it comes to the film.
That's tough.
All right, so I got to know this because I've always heard that player contracts and money is one thing that's always off limits. Now, is it true is it ever okay to joke about a player because they don't make as much money as your contract? And does it ever go in reverse as far as you make the guy who gets paid the most pick up every check, every bill? Is money ever discussed and joked about?
No. I've heard guys joke somebody if you're a first rounder, that the vets or somebody, they might be big, hey. Everybody knows, when the rookie, they got the rookie dinner. So each group got to have a rookie dinner. So, the vets come together, they go, the tab goes up and then the rookies got to pay it. That's like tradition. You know what I'm saying? So, you got that, but it's not really nobody, unless you everybody knows that you the highest paid player in the locker room. It's just it's just different, but nobody really talks about or laughs at salaries, because everybody's really, fighting for a spot. I've seen guys who were signed. I've seen guys who were drafted get cut. You know what I mean? It doesn't really matter, to be honest.
I often wonder if Scotty ever, or if Jordan ever chuckled a couple times in the dark at Scotty's contract. You know what I mean? There had to have been a couple times where he was like, "Jeez, whiz, man." But I get that. So I have another question for you. Here in Baltimore, of course, we picked up Calais Campbell. Really excited about that pickup. And Calais is known for being a great leader, aside from the fact that he's a great player, right? I think it's fair to say Calais is going to be in the Hall of Fame as a player and one of the great leaders in the NFL as well. But are there ever times where, how important in football and in the locker room is it for the leader to also be the best player on the field, or one of the best at his position? Are there ever times where a player is not great but a really good leader, and do people actually follow him when he's in that position?
There's guys who are good morale guys, they're good team oriented guys, and they're needed on a team to kind of keep the glue together or whatever. They're the glue to keep everything together, but majority of the leaders that I've played with, they were pretty damn good. You know what I'm saying? So, and they led by example. It wasn't just them talking, they literally led by example. You know what I mean? It showed in their work ethic. You know what I mean? And yeah, it was just show me better than you can tell me. I really couldn't deal with a leader or somebody who just. Thankfully, I didn't have to deal with that. But I've heard people have leaders where they kind of they talk it, but they don't really walk what they're saying. So yeah, it's kind of tough.
And on the other end of that spectrum, I've also been curious about the impact that the quote unquote diva type player can have on a locker room, and it's particularly if that player is a big contributor or even a star in the league. So could one unhappy player or one disgruntled player have a large negative effect on the rest of the team in the locker room, or is that often exaggerated?
I think you kind of let if you don't feed nothing, it won't grow. You know what I'm saying? So if they want that energy, they want that diva energy, and you feeding it, and you kind of build that up, then eventually, I mean, they're just going to expect that. But I would say, like, the organizations that I played for, there was like a mentality in the whole locker room from the top to the bottom. So it was like, you know, no matter who you are, you know, you had the standard was the standard. So there was no like, but you have that though. And sometimes that can like have the locker room a little shaky, but you know, I was blessed to be around and play with a lot of humble guys, no matter their stature or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful that I'm still able to stay in contact with those guys. So that's pretty cool.
No,
and with just here in Baltimore, I just got to bring up one person in particular because he's constantly linked to the Ravens, and that's Antonio Brown. A lot of fans are unsure. Like, I know I don't want you to – you might not know him personally, but when you see it even from a fan perspective, do you see like a player like that could really hurt the locker room at all? Or do you think bringing in a guy with that much talent is kind of worth the risk?
Right. Is that media-driven, that idea, or is that real?
Honestly, I know people who deal with him know him personally. I've heard nothing but good things about him. You know what I mean? And then I mean, his work ethic, from what I hear, is out of this world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I know like a lot of people might have saw the Hard Knocks, and he was, you know, tripping about the feet and the skin on the feet. But I mean, honestly, I don't know. If I had to put it like this, if I was picking the team, I'd pick him on mine. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay.
if that's and I guarantee you, a lot of guys playing now or not playing would say the same thing.
Right. Well, that's a good way to put it, right? You boil it down to that, and it's like,
Yeah.
all right, well, I want him on my team. So one of the things that Glenn and I were talking about before the show started is position coaches. Position coaches are a little infamous for being really funny and wild. Do you have any position coaches or assistant coaches that come to mind that are particularly like energetic or hilarious in their own way that you can think about?
Steve Wilkes. He was my DB coach and defensive coordinator for 3 years in Carolina, then a year in Arizona. He was my head coach. And that, like, I do these coaching skits too.
Yeah.
It's like a coach slew. But a lot of people don't really know who I'm impersonating. I'm impersonating a group of coaches,
right,
like over the years. But my main guy I'm really impersonating is Steve Brooks, because like he had swag. Like, we called him Denzel Washington. He literally is Denzel Washington from Remember the Titans.
right,
Okay. Yeah, Coach Boone.
He's Coach Boone. He's really Denzel Washington in any Denzel Washington movie. Like, his attitude, his mentality.
Smooth.
He's like smooth. I'm talking about he comes, I mean, his whole demeanor, and it rubs off on the whole room. You know what I mean? So that's a leader right there. You know what I'm saying? And he was that guy. So Steve Wilkes, that's my guy. Still to this day. So yeah, Steve Wilkes.
And isn't that the truth, like, with every level of football? Aren't, like, some of these strength coaches and position coaches, don't they seem to be some of the funniest and craziest people?
Especially the strength coaches.
Yeah. They're nuts.
The strength coaches, they got one goal. They got one job, and that's to get you riled up in that weight room. You know what I mean? They want to teach the health and wealth. And just their whole mentality is just funny. Like, I have a good time with the strength coaches.
Yeah, like hype
on every level.
They've got to be the ultimate hype man, right? Like, all the time, 2 a.m, they're like, they call you on the phone and let's do this. I mean, it's got to be.
As soon as you walk in the door, I mean, because you might have early workouts.
And you got sleepies in your eyes, right?
Like my rookie year, I was on practice squad. So we had to, like, wake up early in the morning for workouts before you even ate breakfast.
Mm.
So you're talking about early as hell. So get out there, and then they, like, soon as you walk in, they got that Led Zeppelin playing, and I don't even Limp Bizkit. Like walking, I'm like, what? You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
dude, that's another experience right there.
You ought to do a skit on that one. That might be pretty good too.
I might have to. Now, like you just brought me back.
There you go.
Thinking about that.
You're the strength coach, ready to greet players as they're walking in.
I mean, and then they're all, it's so aggressive. The handshakes are like,
ripping your arm off. Yeah,
just tough. So yeah.
It looks like there's always someone in charge of holding the strength guy back on the sideline from running on the field.
I'm telling you, like, but you know what? The strength coaches are the ones who actually police the sideline.
That's because you don't want to mess with them.
They actually police the sideline, so they will, they come up and they got the Oakley shades on, and they're guys, like they're literally. They're just patrolling with one bicep.
Yeah. That's because they know you won't check them, right? Like,
so,
you're not checking them. Come on.
Yeah, so
it's the only person that can get away with scooping the head coach up off his feet and carrying him back to the sideline without getting in trouble.
The strength coach. That's it, and they know that, so they're not tripping.
Right.
So with every NFL locker room, every NFL play, it seems like there's pressure to do well. So how important is it to have, I guess, like the team funny guy? I'm sure there's multiple like funny guys or the team goofball. How important is it for that guy in that role to break up the crazy pressure that every player is under on almost every snap?
I mean, I guess I was kind of like like on the team, like in the locker room and everything. I kind of I would keep laughs coming. It's serious. It's a serious job. Putting your body at risk every day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So every once in a while, you just need to laugh a little bit, because I mean it's tiresome. It's a gruesome job. It's tough. You know what I mean? So you kind of need that. So I used to, like, I would handle my business on the field, and then when I'm off the field, I'm gonna cut up a little bit and crack a little jokes.
All right, keep your sanity, right?
You got to, because if you don't, man, I'm telling you. That is tough. Like you be miserable.
Right. No, I balance is the key to life, man.
Honestly.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. So I want to ask you a question about being an undrafted guy. Imagine, if you put yourself in the shoes of the undrafted guys today, going through everything that's going on with COVID, the limited reps they have, what type of impact do you think it has on those guys that are trying to fight for a roster spot?
It's tough, man, because it's just like COVID. It's like you don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're unsure. So, like, as an undrafted guy, you are a little unsure. You know what I mean? Your name didn't get called. You're unsure. So it could be, here today, gone tomorrow. So and you add on everything that's going on, the climate of the world right now. It's a little tough. But I think, I think there's a lot, but from what I've seen, some guys that, from college that were undrafted, I mean, there's a lot of talent. So I just hope that those guys get a fair shake. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
with everything going on
here in Baltimore, I mean, we definitely value, I think, and this. I mean, we have 16 years and we've had an undrafted guy make the 53-man roster, which is awesome. And we've had, my favorite undrafted guy of recent history, of course, is Gus the Bus. I'm a huge Gus Edwards guy.
Okay.
Big fan of Gus. I think he runs like he's trying to hit his face on the goalpost every time he has it on. I love it. It's got to be tiresome as a defensive player, right? So I really like Gus, and it's sad to think that guys like that probably aren't going to get discovered or as likely of getting discovered based on COVID. But it's interesting to get
and not just the pros, but also a guy like Patrick Queen, who was just taken in the first round by the Ravens. He only played one season. So imagine all the I think the ACC right now, I know you're a Georgia Tech alum, they're still scheduled to play, but imagine all those players that only had that 1 year to show teams what they got, like Patrick Queen, who went from off the radar to first round pick in one college season.
Right. I mean, like you said, like you got, like, there's certain conferences that I think they might be shutting it down for the fall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they might have been banking on this year to be their years to go into the draft the following year. So it's tough, man. It's just like there was some undrafted guys who, had pro days, and with COVID and everything, they weren't invited to the combine. So a pro day is their combine, and you're doing a virtual pro day, like, you know what I mean? It's not the same effect as when they're right there in person to get to size you up and really see you. So that, I felt bad for that draft process especially for the underdog guys, you know what I mean?
Big time.
Yeah. And now I got to ask you a question about one of your former teammates, because some people have compared Lamar Jackson and his style of play to Cam Newton. And I guess because of them both being relatively mobile guys, of course, Lamar being maybe the most mobile guy in NFL history from that position. So how do you when you look at Cam Newton and you look at Lamar being mobile guys, do you look at that position and say, man, I don't know if you want a guy who runs like that, because it just makes him more risky, more likely to get injured? Or do you look at it as an advantage to have a guy like that can be that dual threat and can, kind of beat you in multiple ways?
It's definitely an advantage. Playing with Cam Newton, I seen Cam get us out of a lot of garbage. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because he can move like that. And have you ever seen Cam in person? He's not built like an average human being. You know what I mean?
Don't they call him the dinosaur or something like that?
I don't know. He should be an action figure. Seriously.
Right.
If that he calls himself Superman. I've never seen Superman in person, but I've seen Cam fly. So I honestly, man, he's a freak of nature. And what do you say?
Is he the best athlete you've ever been around?
He's one other best. Yeah, I mean, he's just physique. He's a freak, and and he can move. He's strong. He can throw the ball. He can really throw the ball.
Right. How do you think he's going to do in New England?
I hope he does well. I want him to do so well, and I think he will do well.
Do you think that the whole dynamic between him and Bill Belichick, the whole Patriot way and Cam, do you think that's overblown? I do personally.
I think it's overblown because Cam's a smart guy. You know what I mean? And he's a football player. So like, I think with his intelligence as a ball player, you know what I mean, his work ethic, I think, they're not going to have to question that.
Right.
He's a last guy to leave the whole locker room. You know what I mean? I've literally seen that.
So what do you think about when you see Lamar play? Do you think he's just as special of a talent?
Lamar is just different. Lamar Jackson is different. He's he reminds me of Little League Pop Warner games. Like you had these quarterbacks that you couldn't touch them, but this man can actually throw.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I like the way he moves. We've never seen that since Mike Vick. You know what I mean? Like, I think you can go all the way back to a lot of dual threat quarterbacks. Like Randall Cunningham. Who was another, Dante Culpepper was a kind of dual threat. Warren Moon, you know what I mean? But this dude is freakish. What game was that? I think it was against the Bengals, maybe. The
spin move?
Is it a spin move in the middle?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
The two guys
come on.
Each other.
That's an analog stick.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's crazy.
That's a computer glitch. That's like if you're playing Madden, you just look at the dude who's playing with the Ravens. Like, come on, man. What are you doing right now? But this dude is he's a video game in the flesh.
It's crazy, man.
He's exciting to watch.
Yeah, I think what impresses me maybe even the most about Lamar is his the way he acts like he's like the most lovable superstar. He seems like the nicest, most humble, down to earth guy. And I want to know, how rare is that? I mean, you worked with Cam. How rare is it that your quarterback, your face of your franchise, like the MVP and the cover of Madden, can cut it up with 1 through 53 on the roster and relate to anybody?
That's big. That's huge. Like I said, and you mentioned Cam. Like I remember my first day with Carolina as a rookie. Like Cam, I had just got there in the middle of the season, and Cam is like, he just walks up to me, he just shakes my, like he's like, hey man, boo, like we chop it up. He gave me his number, like he would like invite me over his spot and everything like that. Real down to earth. And then just so happened we had the same agent, so that was cool. That was a plus. Right. But I seen him do that with other guys, other guys who weren't the top guy on the team. He was just, he was welcoming. I think you get that same vibe from Lamar, and it shows. You see it with his teammates. They really appreciate it. They really got his back. They circle around. They you know what I mean? And it shows like how the superstar treats the rest of the players, the staff, goes a long way. And you kind of see that on game day. You know what I mean?
All right.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
Hold on. I gotta ask one question. You are obviously a cornerback, right? In your playing days. So what is the difference? A lot of people are excited that Tavon Young is coming back for the Ravens and he's healthy because he is their only true slot corner. So I just want to know the difference between what makes a great slot corner and what makes a great outside corner, and how those two are different.
Well, shout out to Tavon Young. He's from back home.
Yeah. Yep.
He's a baller. Well, a slot corner is not. They can also play outside as well, and they're playing the slot so that at any time they can play safety. So as a slot corner, nickel or whatever you want to call it, like they are essentially like a dual threat. Like a dual threat DB is dangerous, and it's definitely something you need on your team. So I think a guy who can play all three, and I'm pretty sure if he's playing a slot, I've seen him play outside, and like I said, if you play in a slot, it's football. You can go back deep, play safety. You know what I mean? So you're not just one dimensional. A corner or a guy who's strictly a corner is just a corner. You know what I mean? Not saying that's not you don't need a good corner on your team, because you do. You need good DBs, because if not, then the band's just gonna be playing the whole game. So, but nah, it's definitely I'm excited to actually see him back healthy, because he's definitely a big piece in that defense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he's one that goes, unnoticed, but we're paying him a lot of money and really excited to see what he does. So, follow-up question to that. We're going to keep it on the Ravens here for a second. What do you think of the team? How far do you see this team going? And then as a add-on to that, who are the two teams you see coming out to face each other in the Super Bowl? Way too early prediction. But what do you think of the Ravens? What are your expectations for them? And then who do you see at the end of the season?
My expectations for the Ravens, I would like to. I know it may put it like this. I seen it with Cam, right? We had that big. He went to the Super Bowl. He was MVP. So he tore the league up, and then teams, they go in the film room and they start to really. They're like, all right, he's not gonna do this to us again. So then they tend to hone in on you and everything like that. But for us, I know that next year we had a lot of injuries. You know what I mean? There were different pieces that left and so forth. So I think with the Ravens, the good thing I see is that they still got a lot of the same pieces.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I think the sky's the limit. You know what I mean? I think they got a lot of the same pieces. They can stay healthy. You know what I mean? that old line. Shout out to my man Orlando Brown.
Yeah,
He's monster,
Mhm.
right? Like that. Like they got a nucleus, man, and it's gonna be tough. You know what I mean? I know, like they got. I feel like Kansas City having everybody come back, they're gonna be tough.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So the AFC no slouch. I think though, I would like to see those two teams play in the conference championship on the AFC side. But at the same time, you still got that big boy Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean, and the Titans.
Talking about different. He's different.
Come on, that is a freight train in cleats.
How are you tackling him if he's running towards you? What's your move?
My move is I'm chopping them ankles.
I'm laying back and I'm gonna go see Jesus. That's what I'm doing.
That's what you gotta do. You gotta say a prayer and then chop them ankles. Cause that thing. Did you see what happened in the what he did?
Earl Thomas.
Earl Thomas to the Ravens.
Oh,
yeah, we
man.
saw that one.
Come on,
we
man.
were crying.
Too soon.
That one's still raw, man. That's salt in the wound right there.
I can still picture that meme in my. It's like, no.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah, he's
So what
using him
about
as
the
a lead
NFC?
blocker.
What about the NFC? Who you see coming out that side?
NFC. Also in the AFC. Also, don't forget about New England. Also,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
still got. Let's not forget, and Buffalo. Buffalo might do a little something. All right, so NFC.
I mean, the Niners are the reigning NFC champs right now. Do you see them going back and making some noise?
The Saints are still there.
Yeah.
You still got the Saints.
Tom Brady's over there now.
Yeah, and you got Cowboys.
The NFC South is going to be one of the toughest. You got New England.
New England of the South. Yeah.
The New England of the South. Tom Brady, Tampa Bay. You got Drew Brees. Let's not
Matty
forget.
Ice. Yeah, Matty Ice.
I'm always Matty. Okay, I'm okay. Atlanta. You can't forget about Atlanta, and they got my man Todd Gurley over there. So I hope my man he's gonna stay healthy. He get things going. Their defense is nice. You know what I'm saying? Also, can't forget about my boys in Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that NFC South is gonna be tough. I think whoever comes out of there is gonna give somebody problems.
Yeah.
And NFC East, first of all, I can't even mention the Washington.
Yeah, they can't even come up with a name.
I don't even know what to call them right now, but they got a good coach over there, Coach Rivera. He was my coach in Carolina, so shout out to Coach Rivera.
What do you think his thoughts were when he saw now they got the craziness with the owner? He's probably like, what the hell did I get myself?
Probably like, what did I sign up for?
Right.
What did I get myself into?
Right.
I think Dallas, but Dallas is always Dallas goes 3-0 and then they go 12-2. They go 4-11 the rest of the season or whatever.
Yeah.
So they always hit or miss. And let me see. Who else?
I guess Green Bay was in the NFC
Green Bay could make
Championship.
some noise.
How about them taking a quarterback first round when they got A-Rod and they just came out the NFC Championship?
That was different. That was a little different.
That's a nice way to say dumb. That might be your dummy of the week.
Yeah, that should have been one of your dummies of the week, right?
Right.
That's a what's up, dummy? Seriously. When I seen that, I was like, okay. I didn't get that one. But
Right.
like you said, you got the 49ers. The Niners, they
The
gonna be
Seahawks.
The Seahawks. Of course, Russell.
And by the end of the season, they're gonna end up with Josh Gordon and AB.
Yeah, that's what you
now.
Oh,
now that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy. So, if I had to pick, I would definitely like to see like the Seahawks versus the Buccaneers in the conference championship.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
That would be cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom Brady is cementing a legacy elsewhere now, huh?
You know what I'm saying? Who wouldn't want to see Tampa Bay making some noise?
Right.
Oh, no, I mean it'd be cool with that offense. But let me one last question before we let you go, though. I gotta get your point on this because this is something I've been often criticized for. It's in my opinion that Brady was more the reason for their team's success than Belichick. Because Belichick, if you look at his teams without Brady, he's won nothing of relevance. Nothing. They say, yeah, he went 11-5 with Matt Castle, but they didn't even make the playoffs that year. So it was obviously a unique year. They didn't even win their division that year. So my question is, do you think it's a players' league, right? I mean, who's more responsible for that legacy, Brady or Belichick?
I obviously don't agree.
So you don't agree that what?
I don't agree that it was Brady. I think it much more had to do with Belichick than
everyone says Belichick's the GOAT. He's done nothing without Brady. Nothing.
70-30.
70% who?
Belichick.
Okay. First of all, I like Belichick. Okay, put it like this. I don't. What game was it? It was a Super Bowl. I think they played the Falcons. They were down by like 20.
Yes.
They were down by like. Was it 20-3?
28-3.
28-3. And I remember watching the game, and he's not upset. He's not. But Belichick is literally he's on this little thing. He's just jotting stuff down. And he's just calmly just writing it down. He's just shaking his head. Halftime's over. And Atlanta's going crazy. And he came back and did something crazy. See, Belichick, one, he's a DB. He's a DB's. He understands DBs and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So he got a recipe defensively, how to cover guys, how to take away things, and he has a recipe to break down DBs from an offensive mind. So I'm gonna say it's definitely got a little bit to do with. Come on, man, Belichick. Let's not be I'm not saying that Brady's not more the GOAT, because Brady is Brady.
Yeah.
But I mean, Belichick is just different mentally. His team. I've heard that his team meetings are just different.
Yeah, they're not fun. They're no fun.
He doesn't just. No, but it's business. It's business, and that's the his leadership is why they win.
But can't you win and have a little bit of fun along the way? Look at the Seahawks. Look at Pete Carroll. He's laughing it up, cutting it up.
But he only got, one ring? Two rings?
He messed up the second one, not giving it to Marshawn.
Dummy of the week.
I tell you what, and I'm going to rephrase my answer. It was 70% Belichick, 20% Brady, 10% cheating. I had to rephrase that one because, that definitely had an impact in that one.
All right.
But, Lou, we want to know where can our fans find your stuff? I know that you're working on the skits you got on Twitter. You got some stuff on YouTube. Tell us where they can find you. What's your handle and things like that?
Well, my handles are at Lou Young. That's Lou, Lou LOUUU. That's 3 U's. Young, YOUNG. That's Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook is Lou Young. Is Lou Young the Third. And my YouTube is Lou Young. So just LOU YOUNG. Yeah, man. I mean, a lot of stuff coming. Yeah, just stay tuned. It's just growing, man. I'm blessed. I'm thankful. You know what I mean? I appreciate you guys giving me the platform to get my name and face out there even more. I like what you guys are doing. That's good. I mean, sports and especially in Baltimore in the community, we need, people say, we need more laughs, need more things to cheer for. So this is, it's all good. Everybody's helping everybody. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thank you for coming on, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, man.
Have a good one.